Hey, Watem here, and welcome back to some more Umineko When Seagulls Cry. I'm going to send you right on so you past me. Now that I had obtained a tool, I thought about rushing to take on the cover to the well, but I decided to break the shutter to the gardening shed first. I had plenty of time to kill anyway. I figured I should check on the condition of Godo-san and Kumasawa-san's corpses. Why do I feel like at the end of this he'll be charged with murder? That's right. Hit the shutter with a hatchet, breaking into it. Stuck the wire cutter into the crack, and scissored it around, opening up a hole. Then, I faced Godo-san and Kumasawa-san's corpses once more. As a result, I learned a new fact. First, they had not died by being hung by the neck. Both of their feet were solidly on the floor. And, on both of their foreheads, were signs that they had been shot with a gun. This loop seems longer than a normal noose. On top of that, the length was different on each to match the height of each person. I'm also wondering, perhaps, because it's been a full day since they saw the shadow of the corpses through the window. Something could have changed in that time. In other words, the links had been adjusted so that both Godo-san, who was tall, and Kumasawa-san, who was short, had their feet solidly, but barely, on the ground. Also, while the ropes carried both of their weights as their heads lolled, both of them had some slack below their knees. This meant that if they'd stood up with those loops around their necks, there would have been some extra length. In other words, the loops wouldn't have been that great for hanging people. The direct cause of death was probably a shot to the head. It was gruesome. Their insides were still dripping out from those gaping holes, staining their faces a deep red. Probably best to assume that they were then hung, pulled up, and left exposed like that. If they'd been shot with a gun, they would probably have been lying down on the floor. If that had been the case, you wouldn't have been able to tell they were dead, even if you peeked through the window. A mountain of stuff would have gotten in the way, so if they'd been lying down, they would have been hidden. Make the deaths of these two known to the rest of us who couldn't go inside. They would have had to hang them like this, making it visible from the outside. This done to get back at us, for thinking that those two would surely be safe if we left the key with them? I wonder where the shutter key we gave Godo-san, which should have ensured their safety, is now. That key was in the pocket of his trousers. The gardening shed key had been kindly left there, and even the plate was attached. In other words, the gardening shed had been an enclosed room after all, but no longer since you've broken the seal. And that gave rise to another question, because this can't be explained by a hanging. They didn't commit suicide, and those nooses were set up by their culprit. It might have been possible to shoot them through the window, but it's really unthinkable that someone could have tied two loops to the beam from the outside. And furthermore, there's no way they could have lifted up the heavy corpses. In other words, to do all of this, they would have had to go inside. But the key was in Godo-san's pocket, and the shutter had been locked. In other words, the gardening shed had been a closed room. Do we haven't read that the gardening shed is a closed room? I think we do. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we do. And that it meets the definition that there are no other hidden doors or anything. Godo-san had said that there was only one key to the shutter. But is it possible that there was a copy, and that the culprit was in possession of it? If we're allowed to theorize that there actually was a duplicate of the gardening storehouse key, that Godo-san just didn't know about it, then this isn't even close to a closed room. But why is it that, despite the fact that almost all of the other corpses were shot to death and left almost completely alone, just these two corpses were intentionally hoisted up? I couldn't help but feel something a bit odd about that. After this, if we assume that the mystery corpse in the boiler was grandfather's, the deaths of 16 people have been confirmed. There are 18 people on this island. I'm here, and there are 16 corpses. Canon-kun's corpse is the only one I haven't been able to confirm. According to Kirie-san, he'd been killed while climbing out of the well and had fallen down into it. So, if the well closed up like this, it's impossible to check. I tried shining a flashlight through the bars down into the depths of darkness. Down into the darkness in the depths of the well. But it seemed that the jet black darkness had no intention of showing me its depths with the light of that level. It looked like I'd have to break the bars after all. Using the hatchets and the things I'd dragged from the boiler room and the gardening shed, I tried breaking the cover of the well. The metal bars were extraordinarily sturdy. Breaking them wasn't easy. I hit them with a hatchet over and over until my hands started feeling weird, but eventually gave up on breaking them. Impossible. If they were at least wood, I might have been able to break them. It's metal. That's right. There's no way you can slice through metal bars like butter with a human strength. I can't even begin to understand that story about how a cannon can cut through metal bars. I heard that a light like a red laser beam grew out of his arm, and that he sliced through the metal bars like he was cutting through butter. Cutting through metal bars like butter? What's of the red laser beam? They've been watching too much Star Wars. Does that mean he secretly had a burner on him or something? And used that to burn through the bars? Still, just what kind of laser could cut through metal bars like butter? It almost sounds like the kind of laser beam you'd find in those robot anime I loved as a kid, doesn't it? Something like that actually exist? How did Canon-kun get that laser beam? No matter how much I wanted to ask him, he's already been killed, so allegedly, supposedly. Plus, even his corpse is now in the depths of the well, beyond this cover. If Canon-kun could slice through metal bars, I'm sure he could handle this metal cover in a single swing. It feels just like the closed room Goda-san was locked in while holding the key. Only one person can open the door. They're locked inside. If only I had that power of Canon-kun's, I'd be able to do something about this cover myself. Just who is Canon-kun? Couldn't really be a non-human being capable of using a strange power, right? Kirie-san told me to believe in witches, and they even met an insane woman calling herself one. Canon-kun could possibly be a human on the witch's side? Or else the culprit? What the heck? Am I going to start treating him like the culprit? Just because I can't find his corpse?
Oh. I
was wondering how long it would take you.
疑わしきは白だとほざいたのは誰だったのよかるカノンに全ての犯行を押し付けて人間犯人説にされてはかなわぬわらわが赤にて交渉するカノンは死亡しているキリエたち5人の中で一番最初に死亡したつまりは9人目の犠牲者というわけ
Him being the first to die, problematic. Oh well.
死体がない以上カノン君が死亡しているとは断言できない
わらわが赤でささやいたところで駒であるそなたには届かぬだがそなたに
Hello. At a glance, this was mass murder due to something strange that could only be thought of as magic. Golden threads that got attacked through the golden threads had attacked through keyholes. No, we even have testimony that something gold flew around the dining hall when the first 6 died. So you might have been the same weapon. And there was a closed-room murder of the garden shed, and a laser beam that could cut metal bars. That wasn't all. There was much, much more, like the group of goat monsters. The story of the witch who could create pitfalls just by snapping her fingers, and rabbit-like demons who had fired golden threads. I think there was more, but each part was all screwed up. I couldn't possibly accept it, and was forced to suspect there was some kind of trick or mistake. But why in the world had everyone spoken with one voice, saying the same thing without contradictions in the testimony? It's not only the magic. There's Maria's mysterious death. I just knew that George Anarchy had been killed. A mysterious burnt corpse that I couldn't confirm really belonged to that damn geezer. And more. All stuff I don't get. I took the wine bottle up and gulped. I don't have a clue what's going on. After dinner last night, the kids were chased out and told to go back to the guest house. And then there was a massacre in the dining hall. Iria's son and the rest were dropped through pitfalls and captured. Then, Jessica and George Anarchy were called out to take a test or whatever and killed. Even though Kiria's son's group was able to escape the dungeon somehow, all of them got killed in the end. And at the very, very end, even Maria was killed, leaving me all alone. In short, I did nothing except stay locked up in the guest house. During that time, a huge incident occurred and ended. What can I call it except incomprehensible? I don't have a clue anymore.
もう俺はただの食欲魔人なんだぜ。俺だけ生き残らせるつもりかよ。
Or is she leaving me for last?
とっとと姿を現して殺しに来いってんだ。もう面倒だからこっちからは探さねえぞ。そっちから正体を見せやがれってんだ。俺は逃げも隠れもしねえぞ。矢でも鉄砲でも持ってきやがれ。
I haven't gotten any sleep since yesterday, so I'm incredibly sleepy. You want to kill me? Go ahead. I decided to return to the guest house and boldly rest in a bed. When I exited the kitchen and passed through the lobby, that portrait of witch came into view. The big clock did too. Almost exactly midnight. Then, the sound of a bell rang out, proclaiming that midnight had arrived. As I listened, I looked up at Beatrice's portrait. Exactly 24 hours ago, I met you. What were you trying to say? Where did you go? Just who in the world are you, Golden Witch? I haven't told of the single one of the riddles surrounding you. Show yourself and fight me. Time for red and blue text. Then the witch showed herself. Like a guest of honor finally appearing, she showed herself from the landing at the top of a big staircase.
ようやく姿を現しやがったな。丸一日退屈させられてたところだぜ。
そうだ、丸一日を与えた。人間側の権利行使は十分か。
ああ、退屈だったんでな。存分にやらせてもらったぜ。
エンジェは良い子まであったな。
エンジェの名をお前が口にするんじゃね
あれは奇跡によって現れ、自らを生贄にしてそなたに絶対の勝利の執念を与え
え。エンジェの名を口にするな。
た。あの無残な死は そなたにとって必要なものだ。あの死を見なければそなたは本気にならない。エンジェの幸薄き未来を自覚しなければそなたに勝利の執念は生まれない。
エンジェの名を口にするなと言っている。
つまりは必要な生贄だったというわけだ。そうでなくてはそなたにわらわを殺すほどの怒りは生まれない。わらわとそなたの拮抗が崩せる。ベルンタステル卿、これは駒ではないわ。切り札と呼ぶがふさわしい。駒はどれほど活躍しようと盤上を離れることはない。しかし切り札はどんな力を発揮しようとも切れば確実に捨てられる。エンジェはそなたにとって実に良き切り札だったのだ。
エンジェの名を口にするんじゃな。
At Battler's angry roar, Yoto finally stopped talking.
俺はな、こんなところで遊んでる暇はもう一切ねえんだ。引き分けすらもエンジェを待たせてる。俺はな、お前を打ち破り家族を連れて家に帰るんだよ。てめえと魔女ごっこで遊んでる暇は1秒たりともありはしない。
ならばどうすればよいか分かっている。
ああ、
What will you say in blue?
お前をぶっ倒す。魔女も魔法も幻想も妄想も全て俺がぶっ飛ばす。
Can you still use for red?
さあ、追っ始めようぜ。もう二度とごまかさせない。ゲーム再開だぜ。お前という嘘っぱちを追う魔女のベールを俺が引き裂いてやる。
長いわ。素直に一言わらわを殺してやると言えばよい。
ああ、その言葉をお望みなら俺が聞いてやる。お前の望みで最初で最後のものだ。
感謝する。
Say it in red.
お前を殺す。
ならばよし、始めようぞバトラー。さあ魔女狩りの時間だ。わらわを追ってみろ、追い詰めてみろ、殺してみろ。わらわはそなたに期待している。妹の最後がそなたに何を与えたのか、それをわらわに見せてみよ。
上等だ。
Battler's cry burned the world with white light. And if you opened your eyes amidst darkness, the two of them could be seen in a rose garden.
先手はどちらから。
俺だ。
Uh-huh.
潔し。
In the rose garden, beautiful rose petals danced. The colour of those rose petals was red. The fact they faced each other in this beautiful rose garden prove or make claim to a red single truth. That must be why the roses are red. Violets are blue. In the language of flowers, roses represent passion, not truth. The flower for truth is a forget-me-not. And that flower is blue.
俺の青き真実で全てをうがつ。全ての一番最初から、一番最初のゲームから始めるぜ。
Oh.
よかろう。そなたのお手並みを拝見しよう。来い。
行くぜ。すでに宣言済みだがもう一度言う。こいつは 前回のゲームの南條先生の殺人だけじゃないぜ。一番最初からのあらゆるゲームのあらゆる場面を切り裂ける。後宮金蔵はすでに死亡している。よって島の本当の人数は17人。そこに未知の人物 X が加わることで18人となっている。
I feel like this unknown person is known to Bachelor based on the ending of the third game.
この人物 X の存在の過程によって17人全員にアリバイがあっても犯行は可能になる。これにより人間の数18人を満たしつつにもかかわらず一見18人全員にアリバイがあっても犯人 X の存在と犯行は可能になる。
You can break through all of the murders in episode 1 by supposing an unknown person X. Furthermore, it's even possible to explain the mystery of Kinzo's evaporation from the closed room sealed by the receipt, making the bold assumption that Kinzo wasn't there in the first place. Unless Beato counters this with the red truth, the illusion of which from episode 1 has been completely smashed. This blue truth is valid. Oh, here comes the red truth. Wedge of blue truth the battler had thrown stabbed right through the top of Beato's left foot. Oh, okay. Was red blood pouring out from there? Protest being made by her red truth? Beato shut one of her eyes tight, enduring the unbearable pain of the blue truth that denied her. Yeah, I mean, in all of the games it's possible that Kinzo is already dead, even in that most recent one. We can't necessarily trust the testimony of the people. The only people we saw in person were that talked about Kinzo still being alive were Masaya and Goda, who then died in very different and odd circumstances. Were possibly not dead at the time that they were seen through the window. Something else could have happened there as well. We don't have enough information. And the others were through a telephone. We don't know if that was forced testimony.
だがまだまだわらわは否定されてはおらぬ。この程度では足りぬわ。続くゲームではそれだけで説明できる謎があるぞ。
どの謎だ？
第2のゲームの終盤でジョージがゴーダとシャノンを引き連れ夏日の部屋に立てこもり殺された。
I can't remember that long ago.
夏日の部屋を解錠した鍵は室内に閉じ込められ、残るすべての解錠可能な鍵はローザの手にあった。犯人 X が存在しようとも密室構築は不可能なはず。
I haven't read, but blue wedge that pierced Beato shook. He was resisting, fighting to pull it out. It's possible that Rosa was in on it. Would it be possible to say in red that all the keys that Rosa had were still on her? Perhaps she was in on it. Perhaps someone, through sleight of hand, was able to take the key from her.
いいや、俺の青き真実は揺るがない。犯人 X がマスターキーを入手していれば、あれは密室でも何でもないんだ。
いや、入手は不可能だぞ。マスターキーすべてはローザが管理した。
And if Rose isn't in on it, it could still be under Rose's control.
だが、ローザおばさんが共犯であったなら何の意味もない。ローザおばさんは犯人 X に何らかの方法で鍵を渡し、密室殺人を幇助した。そしてその後、同様の方法で鍵を回収したんだ。甘いぜベアト。こんなのは当時の俺もすでに推理している。
そうであったな。
She's unable to deny it in red. The wedge of it had been gradually losing its sparkle, and it seemed as though it was about to be pulled out. It regained its strong blue again, thanks to battle of the additional blue truth, and dug into Beato again, eating into her foot. Beato let out a cry of anguish at that point.
まだ答えぬ。まだだ。まだだ。
さらに続けて第3のゲームだ。6連結の連鎖密室、ローザおばさんとマリアの殺人、親父たちのホールでの死亡、クラウス、その全てはエヴァおばさんを犯人に仮定することで説明可能だ。
I don't remember the 6-linked rooms working that way. The other ones certainly, but I don't remember the 6 closed rooms.
これは当時すでに論破済み。それに対しお前がエヴァを通して出題してきた最後の難題、南條先生殺し、18人目の未知の人物 X で説明可能。
That much. How did the first 6 happen though? It wasn't an accident. Might have been suicide. Or the deaths were instant. Got that as well. So it can't have been something prolonged. And it can't have been an illness or a poison. Ooh. Unless poison was fed in from the outside, perhaps?
これで第3のゲームまで全て打ち破ったぞ。
無論この程度で答えはせぬわ。
Sound pretty worried to me.
ならばゲストハウスからのジョージの失踪はどう説明するというのか。
That was solved at the time as well. Had an accomplice on the inside, potentially Eva. He could just leave, and then someone else comes along and closes the window behind him.
赤き真実を追加しよう。ジョージはゲストハウスの階段を降りてはおらぬ。
Yeah, we already established he went out the window.
窓から飛び去ったのだ。
Yeah. In the final stages of the third game, George suddenly vanished from the second floor of the guest house. Eva, who had been on the first floor, claimed that no one had come downstairs. But because of the blue truth, George could have snuck down to the first floor and escaped while Eva was busy carrying Kraus and Natsui's corpses outside. But by adding an additional red truth, Beato had denied that possibility. To go outside without going down the staircase to the first floor, he would have had to leave by the window. All of the windows had been locked from the inside.
だからなんだ。お前の言葉通りだぞ。窓から飛び去ったんだろ。下へ飛び降りても芝生じゃわからないし、あの大雨だ。多少の痕跡なんて消えちまう。
赤き真実を繰り返す。
Huh?
外部へ通ずる窓も扉もすべて
Yeah.
内側より施錠されていたぞ。
So unlock it from the inside, jump out, and your accomplice locks it from the inside again.
しかもそれらの施錠はすべて外側からは不可能。
Again, already bypassed.
ジョージには施錠する術はない。
青き真実を繰り返す。当時の俺も言っているぜ。
Yep.
ならばジョージの兄貴が窓より脱出後、誰かがそれを施錠すればいい。
It wouldn't even really have to be an accomplice, just someone who goes, "Oh, look, an open window. I better lock that. Just make sure no one gets in."
何も難しいことはない。
程度ではあがけぬかあがけぬか。
Beato couldn't remove the blue wedge that was buried into her foot. The fake witch was burned more and more by that forceful blue.
第3のゲームまでの全てにおいて青き真実は未だ揺るがない。ならお前が魔女であることを証明する唯一のゲームは今回の第4のゲームだけってことになる。
わらわが赤き真実にて反撃していない以上、そういうことになろう。この度のゲームでのみ魔女を証明せねばなるまいな。よかろう。存分に来るがよい。
食堂の6人殺しについて不審な点はない。18人目の X が銃を乱射してみんなを殺した。落とし穴については実際に落とし穴が本当に隠されていた可能性もあるし、
This is gonna get counted. Almost certainly.
キリエさんの仮説である瞬時に混沌させる毒矢の発射装置 X の過程でも説明可能。ジョージの兄貴ジェシカ、そして地下牢から脱出したメンバーの殺害も食堂と同じで銃によるもの。不審な点はない。だが分かってるぜ、反撃があるんだろう。来いよ。
そなたの最大の刃である18人目の X は金蔵がすでに死んでいるとの仮説に立脚している。
Ben read that he isn't.
そう来ることはわらわも分かっていた。だから金蔵を書斎より出した。その金蔵を親族会議の全員が迎えたぞ。
You're not saying it in red.
親族会議に居合わせた全員が金蔵の存在を認めた。
Always present at the family conference acknowledged the existence of Kinzo is not the same as Kinzo is alive.
そうだな。だがじい様はずっと視線をさまよって寝込んでいた重病人ってことになってるぜ。やつれてて別人に見えちまってもみんな気にしないかもな。
Teacher Watem here, I'm cutting this into parts, so I hope you've enjoyed this one. Let me know any feedback you have in the comments, and until next time, see ya.